My name is Brian. I play in the Prime Speaker Vannifar deck. It's a birthing pod top deck with Vannifar's ability. I sack creatures till I get to a Protean Hulk. I sack the Protean Hulk to get to a Tidespout Tyrant, Grand Architect, and Pilipala, and I use those two cards to create infinite mana.
And my name is Sean. I'm playing the Malcolm-Kediss deck. I basically win using a couple different combos where I make everything a pirate, use treasures to either use the Minotaur, kill everybody that way, or I drop a bunch of artifacts on the board through the artifact damage.
Well, Tyler's not here, and his deck is kind of similar. Koll, his ability is that when a creature dies, if it was equipped or enchanted, he needs to return it to his hand. So he uses that with a Mask of Immolation line where he can equip the creature like a Dockside Extortionist with the mask. He sacks it, deals 1 damage to I think any target. Dockside goes back to his hand. He recasts Dockside, creating more treasures, and basically he creates infinite mana in a way. That's how it wins.
All right, Zachary isn't here, so I'm going to explain his deck. It's Magda on the clock, using dwarves to drive vehicles. The primary design, use Clock of Omens, tap dwarves to make artifacts, and then you just make infinite artifacts. It recycles a couple different things like Pyrite Spellbomb or something along those lines to deal infinite damage. It can also do infinite mills.
Yep. I have Gemstone Cavern.
I have the Gemstone Caverns in my opening hand.
And I'll exile Hammer of Nazan.
I'm going to exile a Barbarian Ring. Feel lucky? 100 cards.
I'm going to play a Spectator Seating since I have 2 or more opponents. It enters the battlefield untapped. I'm going to tap this one for red to spin Greater Gargantuan.
I don't know how you feel about this, but every single time he plays a red deck, I swear he has Greater Gargantuan or whatever the heck that
in his opening hand every time.
But he has it in his opening hand every time. It doesn't matter what red deck is. I mean, clearly that would not typically be a cEDH deck.
Mm-hmm.
But in this case, it he has it every single time. Doesn't really matter because it's got a billion counters on it, and it's not likely that we will ever see it.
Nice. And then I'm going to tap this one for a colorless to play Shuka. Pass turn.
Swan Song.
Swan Song Shuka.
Mm-hmm. But you do get a 2/2 blurred. All right, I'm going to play Training Center.
Mm-hmm.
Lotus Petal.
Mm-hmm.
Sack. Malcolm. Pass turn. Right here, I've done everything I want to do. On turn 1, Malcolm, if you can do Malcolm first turn every single time, that's when you're most of the way there.
And I had nothing.
Go for turn. And I will let that play that. Draw a turn. Guess I'll bring Magda out.
Okay. Untap. Draw for turn. I will pay a white for land tax.
Land tax is very good at that moment.
Yeah, it's not bad being the last person or the next person, second person in line. The only issue is once again, this is the deck that he designed for cEDH, and typically you're not going to get a lot of value out of it. I mean, ideally you're going to end up with a lot of lands out of your deck, so maybe thinning it down is a thing.
But hopefully when he goes to play a draw spell or get draws, he draws into more stuff he needs instead of drawing the lands.
Yeah.
Thins out his deck, which is still good, especially in if the game goes long.
Yeah, ideally, I mean, it's funny because he had some of the best things in his deck in his opening hand. Unfortunately, it didn't go extremely far in this game.
Then move to combat.
You got 2 flyer.
Oh god, Brian, you're getting 2.
Yep.
Pass turn.
Untap. I'm going to play City Brass for my land. Play Kediss. I'm attacking you for 2.
Yep.
Everybody gets hit for 2. I create 3 treasures. I'm going to use 3 treasures.
Mm-hmm.
For 600.
I realized on that play that I should have probably mulliganed better. I think I kept 6. I probably should have put down to 5. And I don't know if it would have made any difference, but maybe would have made me have more fun during the game.
Pass turn. Untap, draw a turn. Mountain. 2 for 7 dwarves.
You going to pay for that? Smart.
Guess we better let you, buddy. He's got that massive thing.
Untap. Land tax trigger. Sean has more lands than me.
Yes, I do. That's another interesting thing here is land tax actually would have been completely useless for him if I hadn't had a turn 1 gemstone or turn 0 gemstone mine as well.
Yeah, it would have been basically a dead play.
Yeah, it would have been a dead card in his hand, nothing to do.
Yep.
So I will play a Snow-Covered Plains for turn, tapping for 3. I'm going to play a Goblin Matron.
You paying for that?
No, I'm not. You can go ahead and drop that.
Saying are you paying for that is something that I totally enjoy. I hate hearing it, but I love saying it.
When it ETBs, I search my library for a Goblin card. Reel it. Pass turn.
Alright. I will untap. Draw a card. I will play a mountain. Tap a mountain for a soul ring.
Yep.
I'm attacking Brian.
What's that called? Rift Mountain. Unless you can counter it, which you probably will.
I'm going to counter that. Did you pay for it, by the way?
Nope.
I'm going to go ahead and tap both of those.
My one and only spell I got to cast, and of course it gets countered, but hey, it's magic. It happens.
To counter it. And I draw a card. Alright, everyone's going to take 3 damage. I get 3 treasures. Pay 1 for blue. Pass the turn. Right there, the Image Crafter is actually one of the ways that I can win, because I can make the Artificer, which I play later on, a pirate, and it's unnecessary for me to play the other thing. But if I have both of them in play, I have backup for when one fails.
Master? Your
Yep.
master? Alright. I can't do anything. Tap, draw. Mountain. You're going to get your draw. Sacrifice the treasure token. Tap 4. Goldspan Dragon.
This is one of the things that is the inexperience of Zachary playing the deck. As I stated earlier in the explanation of what the deck does, this deck is not really designed to cast dragons. Ideally,
You'll search them up.
Yeah,
Give
you
them
search them up, and that's only late game.
You cheat them in, right?
Yeah.
With her ability.
It would probably been much better if he had actually just hung on to those and used the 2 mana or the 2 artifacts there. If he would have used them later on for a sacrifice. The deck that he's playing actually can win significantly quicker. And in this case, I'm not positive that he would have won, but there's a really strong chance, as it was, he still almost won.
I can't remember what he said he had in his hand, but I think he had one of the win conditions in his hand if he had.
Yeah, I think he had Clock of Omens in his
Yeah,
hand.
I think he had Clock of Omens, and if he had used Magda's ability to go search for another piece, he probably could have won the next turn.
Yeah. In this case, he was pretty excited probably just to play Dragon. Which,
Yeah.
I mean, that's a pretty good Dragon. You're making a bunch of tokens, that produce mana.
And he keeps you from attacking him because he has a 4/4 flyer against your 2/2 command.
Yeah. But again, I don't care. As long as I can fly in and attack somebody.
That's all that matters.
Yeah, because I'm still going to end up dealing the damage to him. It doesn't even matter to me. The thing here is he looks at a dragon that makes all his treasures more valuable, and unfortunately, it's just where he had a minor misunderstanding of exactly what the deck does.
And when you're unfamiliar with the deck, you can't help it.
Just wasn't enough. It's not something that he's familiar with playing cEDH all that much. In fact, we kind of forced. Well, we didn't force him into playing it, but we kind of said, "Hey, you get to play this."
Yeah.
And he was excited to do it, but
It's unusual to see a mono red cEDH deck that can win pretty quick. I mean, unless you're a Godo Helm of the Host, but even then, it's still you're not winning on turn 2 like this deck can
right.
with a Godo.
Right, were you moving to attack, right? Yeah. That's fair. Fair enough.
Or one of them. Commander, so.
Yeah, Goldspan and 7 Doors coming at you, Sean, and I guess 2 at you, bro.
Goldspan Dragon.
That would have made it, especially. I think he even had I think he had that in his hand too.
I think he had another 7 Dwarf in his hand.
No, I think he actually had the automaton in his hand.
Actually, I think you're right because that's right, because he had the automaton, so he could have, because he comes in, it's a dwarf, because it's a
Yeah, it's an artifact dwarf.
So he could have, so he
It's
could
an
have,
artifact shifter.
so he would have won that because he could have tapped the 4.
I think he's 1 treasure short.
So did he? So playing the Goldspan actually give him enough mana because it comes in with 2.
Yeah, but he used his treasures for it.
Oh yeah, from the turn previous. That one scene he could have let. Could he?
Yeah.
He could have won on the
He would
second
have had
main.
4. He would have had 4 treasures. He needed 1 more treasure to be able to go.
Yeah, but he could. But what I'm saying is he could have.
If he had played that instead of the yes, if he played a dwarf instead of the dragon, he should have won there.
Yeah, because he would have been able, because he would have attacked for 3, for 2. He would have got the 2 more treasures
We
for.
might get that later on, where if one we see at the well, actually, we won't see it at the end of this. But
Can you go back and see? Is there any footage of like him
No.
of what was in his hand torn?
no, what we can say is we can actually say it right now, and I can just edit it in later on.
We're not real sure, but we believe that if he had played, I think he had an automaton or another dwarf in his hand. If he had played that to the Goldspan dragon, he probably could have won on his second main phase because he would have been able to generate enough treasures to be able to play. I'm pretty sure he had the automaton in his hand and the Clock of Omens.
Yeah, we
And-
think he had both in his hand, and at that point, even if he didn't have both in his hand, if he had played the shapeshifter artifact that is a dwarf,
And I don't.
he
have,
would have won an attack with it instead of Goldspan Dragon. He would have won on this turn.
And I don't think. I know I didn't have at the time. I don't think I might have had a negate in my hand, but I don't think I would have had any interaction to disrupt that. I don't know if you would have it either, would you?
Well, those are all creatures.
And most of your okay.
Yeah,
And
if he casts Clock of Omens, you can negate it. But the artifact creatures negate won't do anything too, and Magda's ability doesn't care.
because it comes into play.
Yeah, it just does it. It's an activated ability, like
And you-
Stifle or something like that might have stopped it, but not much.
But
else.
you had no interaction, so you would not have had any action.
I didn't have any.
And I know Tyler wouldn't have had any action for that too. So
Right.
he would have won on that turn. That would have been what turn 4?
Turn 4. His turn 4.
Yeah.
We're still on
I'm
turn 3.
because you have 3 mana.
Yeah, the guy turn 1 player has a much higher percentage opportunity. I believe it's what 32% or something like that.
Just because of the
chance to
because
win.
of the extra mana, because they always have. Because unless
Yeah.
somebody's playing ramp, you always have the 1 extra mana.
Yeah.
When you go into yes.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
You're just ahead.
I'm gonna untap land tax trigger. Snow-covered mountain, snow-covered mountain.
That's right.
Play a snow-covered mountain. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pay 2 here. Yeah, thank you. Pay 2 here. Cast my planner.
Are you paying for that?
I'm gonna pay 2. Tempting to cast Oxide.
Darn it, I can't do anything about it. But in response, I will sack that. I'm gonna lightning bolt your commander.
No, lightning bolt my commander.
Yes, I will.
Okay.
Tyler does not normally take things this well.
No.
I was really surprised that he did get excited about the target of his commander.
But I think him understanding it's CDH and that's how
Yeah.
CDH plays. We kind of explained, especially to Zach. I don't think he was aware that a lot of times in more casual games you don't just upright distort somebody's commander unless it's a talk rule or something that's very oppressive. Just because it's casual. But in CDH sometimes, especially with his deck, his commander is what is more or less his win condition. Because without his commander, he can't get creatures back out from his graveyard to his. We can't get the creatures back to his hand to be able to go infinite stuff. So his commander is very important. So getting rid of him, because realistically, I think Tyler could have won on that turn too if you hadn't killed his commander.
Yeah, Tyler at that point was actually pretty much ahead. He wasn't ahead, but he was right where he wanted to be. Killing his commander set him back far enough that I was able to go. When somebody plays a dock side, I normally go ahead and blow up all my treasures, but I also knew what was in my hand, and I felt like I needed all but the 1 treasure to be able to win on my turn coming up. So I went ahead and just used it to use the lightning bolt to go ahead and take out his commander.
So it happens. So I get 2, 5, 7.
Did you pay for dock side?
Couldn't 3 of them for my environmental.
Okay, are you going to
Pay for that? No, God no.
Okay, I'm going to tap 2 treasures.
Yeah.
I'm going to negate that. And draw a card.
Okay, now you're out of counter spells. So then I'm gonna use 2 of those.
Remember, he's got free counter spells in there too.
Yep, for Oswald Fit over there.
I couldn't have negated that anyway. And are you paying for that?
Yeah, I'm gonna
2
transfer
treasures.
that. Yeah, I know I got 2 treasures.
I will untap.
So it's 5 counter spells in 2 turns.
I'm counting 3. I'm going to tap red. Soul Ring. Reckless. Fireweaver. Got 1 floating still. Tap these 2. Arcane Adaptation. Type, I'm going to choose Pirate. Alright, so. Right here, this is the other thing that I was planning on casting. Arcane Adaptation makes everything a pirate. So Arcane Fireweaver is a pirate, which this is what enables me to win. But I also had the Image Crafter that can make the Fireweaver a pirate. So I had two ways to make that a pirate. So at this point, in order for me not to win, somebody has to get rid of the Fireweaver or Malcolm. Or I guess the Adaptation and Image Crafter, both those things have to go.
Because once you created the 3 treasures, it goes infinite. Because
Yeah.
even though you only create 1 treasure at a time, you can just keep being.
Yeah.
Does it say each opponent? Yeah. So it doesn't matter if you create 1 treasure, you're doing 1 damage to every opponent. So you would have won no matter what. Once you created that first treasure, the game was over.
Yep.
Might have been a better way to do all this, but all right, I'm attacking. Okay. All of them are going at you.
I have no responses, so what am I eating?
Okay, you're going to take 4.
Commander.
No, you're taking 3 commander. You're taking 4 total. Everyone else is taking 3. I am getting 7. I get 3, 3.
I probably shouldn't have attacked with the Image Crafter here. I should have held that back just in case somebody blew up something on it. Blew up the other on the stack.
Yeah.
Because Image Crafter needs to tap in order to be able to make the other.
Yeah, but you had the backup of the thing, so either
Yeah,
way.
but if somebody got rid of that, for instance, if somebody maybe held onto a Cyclonic Rift to bounce 1 thing or something for later on, that probably would have been an ideal time to do it. But
actually, the best thing would have been the bounce would have been the Fireweaver, because that's what
at that
gives you the
point,
win.
yes.
That's what gives you the win. Is
Yeah,
the
because
Fireweaver. So
everything else
bouncing
is-
it. So that would have been a lot. That would have been the best play.
And all that would do there is still delay,
The inevitable.
just delay the win.
Yeah, the inevitable.
But by then, at this point, Zachary definitely would have won because he figures out his deck.
And then if he didn't win, somebody stopped him. Tyler could have won on his turn because he would recast his commander, and I think he pretty much had everything in his hand to keep bouncing dockside to get infinite mana. So I mean, because you had 1, 2, 3, he would have been with 3. No, he wouldn't have been able to because you're the only one with 4 artifacts, 3 artifacts. Zach could have sacrificed his treasure, so he wouldn't have had enough because he would have had to at least have 4, unless he had some way.
Zach at his point would have had a bunch of more artifacts too. He would have had minimum 3 on his turn.
Oh, okay, yeah.
More if he did not win, because somebody would have had to do some sort of removal. I mean,
Yeah.
it would have come down to removal. Somebody
Yeah.
would have had to win in order for that to actually just go away.
Yeah, then yeah, exactly. So he would, even if he hadn't figured out the win and he had put in 3 or 4 artifacts, him being able to recast dockside with no interaction, that would have won the game.
Yep.
So at this point,
The game is essentially over.
no matter except for me, there was no way I was winning
Yeah.
because I never got any.
Every-
I never got any green mana. That was my worst.
Yeah.
That was what slowed me down. Is I was assuming I would draw into some green mana because I basically had half the win in my hand. I had the creatures I needed to sacrifice. All I needed was to get mana for it.
Yeah.
And I had the
This
thing.
is-
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's one of the things that you just learned to mulligan a little bit better. That probably would have helped out a little bit for Brian. For everyone else, Zachary is not at fault. He wasn't really positive what he was doing. He's good at commander. He understands what he's doing whenever it comes to high power commander. He's never really played a cEDH game before, but he wanted to try it out. And I've got several decks that I said, "Hey, try this," and so he did.
And Tyler actually played his deck really well. It just
Yeah.
the lightning bolt. That was the key to him not winning this game was the lightning bolt. Lightning bolt is commander.
Yeah.
Because I still believe he could have won on that turn if you hadn't lightning bolted.
Yeah. Basically, everyone here I think did pretty good, except for Brian on an early mulligan. Might have helped him out if he had done it just a little bit better. Zachary did as good as he could because he doesn't know what the heck he's doing or at the time didn't know what he was doing for cEDH. So this is really the first game of cEDH he'd ever played. So it's kind of a convoluted line in order to be able to win with Magda. Flashy Dragons appeal to people who are just used to powerful EDH.
And I think if I had mulliganed, if I had taken the mulligan, I probably, because I'd mulligan down to 6, I believe. If I went to 5, because I was worried about drawing, because with that deck you don't want to have one of your creatures that you need to birthing pod for in your hand. But if I had mulligan down, even if I'd drawn one or two of them, I would have been down to 5. I could have put those two cards on the bottom of my deck because I'm going to basically tutor for them.
Right.
So that's the thing with that deck. I probably should have. I need to realize a lot with that is that even if I have, if I've decided to mulligan, even if I have, some of my technically win conditions in my hand, I should just go ahead and just mulligan them down, put them on the bottom of the library because I'm going to get to them eventually anyway. With Vannifar's.
7 treasures, and whenever an artifact enters the battlefield under my control, it deals 1 damage to each opponent. So then everyone's taking 7. I got 7 more. I just won.
How?
Reckless Fire Weaver. Whenever artifact enters the battlefield under my control, it deals 1 damage to each opponent. It's also a pirate. So every time it deals damage, I get 3. It dealt 7 damage. I get 21 tokens and dealt 21 damage.